I support this campaign because Canada should be one united country. And the arguments for separation, I think, are really silly and short-sighted.
In Lac La Biche, it was a really, really excellent experience for us because I found that people just really wanted to be able to do something and they were so happy to be able to.
I think just the community aspect of it, that feeling when you go travel and everyone goes, oh, you're Canadian, and just the pride that comes with it.
Because I'm a Canadian first and an Albertan second.
As Alberta is part of Canada and we deserve the same rights that everybody other Canadian has, and I don't want private education and I don't want private health care. I see what it's done to the States, and absolutely I do not want that for my children.
Because we're part of Canada and I think it's important to stand up for it.
Yes, I was born and raised in Alberta, but I'm a Canadian from birth. I don't want Alberta to leave Canada. It scares me more than anything.
I have children and grandchildren, and I want them to grow up to be Canadians because we live in the best country in the world.
I really believe that we're stronger together than we are apart. I'm also very fearful that if we did become apart, that the states would try to absorb us.
Because I believe that Alberta should be part of Canada because we are Canadian.
Great. And Sam?
Similar reason. I think I'm proud to be Canadian. I love living here, and I think the idea of separating it's silly.
I signed it because I signed a petition in the 80s in Quebec, and I don't want to relive that. And now I'm signing it here in Alberta because of my grandkids.
For his future and for our future, I want to stay in Canada.
Well, hello, Forever Canadians. We just heard from a lot of people, dedicated volunteers out there determined to crush 300,000. Let's be frank, it has been a grind as we approach the home stretch of this 90-day campaign. I remember seeing a photo just recently of snow in Calgary, and wow, they were there. Forever Canadians out there collecting signatures. I still can't get over the determination, the enthusiasm, and the tenacity. I'm Serena Ma, and I am so honored to be your host and moderator tonight. And with me tonight is, of course, Thomas Lukaszuk, former Deputy Premier and MLA, and the initiator of the citizen-led petition to keep Alberta in Canada. Now, Thomas, you and the Unity Bus have been on the road where you've been to Smoky Lake, Redwater, Rimbey, Sylvan Lake, and most recently in Andrew for the Garlic Festival. You are making so many connections. What are the stories that you're hearing on the road?
It's phenomenal, Serena. It's still the number of people that are lining up. And many have already signed, but they still come up and shake my hand and want to have a selfie with this bus, which is simply amazing. And the perseverance of volunteers. It was really cold in Andrew, and the wind was just gusting, and it didn't seem to bother anybody. Our volunteers were there and collecting
Albertans,
signatures.
though, right? We're tough.
That's what it is. That's what it is. So 90 days now, looking back, is a long time, but we have 14 days to go. We're in the final stretch, and we'll get there. I feel very confident that if we go really hard for the next 14 days, we'll get the numbers.
And of course, we also have with us tonight Joanne Pollock. She and the rest of the collection team are nothing short of special. Now, Joanne, an email went out yesterday asking people to report how many signatures they have in their possession. How important is that as we head into the final collection phase?
Yes, thanks, Serena. Yes, we see so much activity out there, but we truly don't know what the numbers are. So that's why we sent out that text and the email asking the canvassers to report how many signatures they have on hand. And knowing how many signatures we have and where they are will really be helpful as we roll out our collection plans. And I just want to tell you a little bit about the collection plans that we have in place. So we have talked about October 22nd to 25th as our collection dates. We're going to start a little bit earlier in some of the centers across the province just to allow a little bit of extra time to get them into Edmonton. But for the most part, it's going to be during that period, the 22nd to 25th. And we're going to have a broader strategy than last time. So last time we covered the major cities. This time we're going to cover other centers as well, because we really want to collect every signature. Certainly we had been relying on the mail service for some of our collection last time, but this time we really want to have them in hand and hand it into the people that we have crossing the province. We are going to have information that's going to come out by email and on the website later this week, so you'll know exactly where, what time, what dates, and that'll all be outlined in that email and on the website. One thing I wanted to mention that we'll be providing the details as well in the email and on the website, but the packages that you submit, they'll be similar to last time. We want a cover sheet. We want, of course, all your signature sheets, but we don't need the affidavits this time, so that will be much more streamlined in terms of our collection process. We also need to return all of the canvasser badges to Elections Alberta. We can actually be fined if some of them if they're not all returned. So we are asking you to make sure that you return your canvasser badge together with your signature sheets. And one other reminder, at the signature sheets, there's a place at the bottom to sign it by the canvasser who witnessed the signatures. Please ensure that you do that. We want to make sure that Elections Alberta doesn't reject some of the signatures just because of a missing signature of a canvasser on those signature sheets. We're going to be putting all that information into the email and on the website, but that's just a glimpse of the kinds of things that we want people to be cognizant of as they're preparing their packages.
Well, thank you, Joanne. I mentioned tenacity earlier in this conversation, and wow, do we continue to see it, Thomas? We have had over 1 million hits, did you know that, on our website since the beginning of this campaign?
Well, I know, first of all, we've been sparking the attention of service providers, what is going on, because this website is getting so many hits, and that is incredible. And now we are over 5,000 signature collectors, which I never anticipated that many.
Actually, 6,000.
Are we close to 6,000 now? There you go.
Because we had quite a batch going out recently. So
well, as recently as yesterday, I believe 80 registrations were registered with Elections Alberta. So people are coming back from vacations, and now teachers are not, unfortunately, at work. So they're finding a little bit more time, and parents are finding a little bit more time. So I think we're sort of turning adversity into something positive. And even though we had interruptions like the postal strike, all those things, we're managing to turn them around and turn them into signatures. So it's just amazing.
Well, still the number one question is how many signatures, and we are close because we announced 230,000. I'm allowed to reveal now, 252,000 signatures are in hand. But I want to put that into perspective a little bit. Only a portion of our canvassers have submitted their completed sheets. In other words, there are way more signatures out there, and we need you to bring them home. So, Thomas, what do you want to say to volunteers? I know it kind of feels good when you have a stack of signatures at home, and hoarding it feels good, but we need to bring them home.
Yeah. Well, it's not over till it's over, right? And every signature, literally every signature is going to matter. So what we really have right now are two separate campaigns. We are going till almost the last day collecting signatures, and you will see me on the bus traveling first thing in the morning. I'm leaving for, I believe it is Mondaire, and then I will be in Vegreville and Central Alberta, collecting signatures and meeting our volunteers. But at the same time, sort of behind the scenes, we have totally separate campaign team working on collecting these signatures, because as you will all know, getting signatures is one thing, but bringing them into Edmonton, getting them tabulated and handing them into the Chief Electoral Officer's office on the 28th of October is what really matters. So we can't leave any petition sheets out there. So we will have to shift focus, and Joanne here will be our fearless leader in that campaign to make sure that every single petition sheet makes it back to Edmonton. And we will be announcing some kind of an event on the 28th where we will be actually bringing those boxes into the Chief Electoral Commissioner's office. And we have to have more than 300,000, because what the Chief Electoral Commissioner will be doing is he will be pulling out 20% sample from all those boxes. And he will be looking for mistakes, for errors, for omissions, for people who are not electors. And if he finds a margin of error, then he will extrapolate that margin of error across all the petitions. So even though all of us have been really diligent collecting those signatures, people make mistakes. They will have forgotten their email or phone number. Hopefully our canvassers will not forget to sign the bottom of the petition, because that is crucial. If you don't, we lose that entire page. So some petitions will be eliminated, but I'm looking forward to the day when we are handing in not 300, but more than 300 to account for that error.
I mean, just to put it into perspective, when we had that last news conference, we had 9 bankers boxes, and
That's
that
right.
was how many?
130,000. Oh no, that was just
That
from
was
Calgary.
I think it was
that was about
20,000.
20,000 from Calgary.
So imagine what 300,000 plus the number of boxes we will have. I just want to thank everybody for taking their time to be with us. According to our tally here, we have nearly 740, nearly 800 participants. So they continue to volunteer their time, continue to be enthusiastic about this campaign. And I want to remind you that you can submit your questions in the chat function. So let's get to those questions, shall we? Joanne, this is for you. Should we continue collecting signatures after October 25th? That's a great question. Joanne.
Okay, good. Thanks, Serena. Well, we are going to have that collection period between the 22nd and 25th. We know that there's some people who are really eager to continue collecting signatures. So by all means, you can do that, but we won't have the capacity to have our collection locations open. We will have one place in Edmonton open, the 14th Street location that has been our mail-in location. That'll be open on the Monday morning on the 27th. So if anyone wants to get their petitions that petition sheets in, if they've collected those last couple of days, they can. But we'll have to leave it up to them to find their way there to deliver them.
Okay, but the push is on, right?
The push is on, for sure.
We have a few days, and I have to say, I think since our press conference, when we announced the 230,000, I've seen this energize, like people are just like the spark, right? They're just into it. Is that what you're seeing on the road?
I am, because everybody's worried, right? And so am I. We need to get this magic number, and we're sort of flying this airplane blindfolded. We really honestly have no idea how many signatures are out there.
And there's no playbook for this kind of campaign ever.
That's
it's unique.
Right. It is. And not having to have affidavits definitely helped a lot, but we have no idea how many of you out there have signatures that you either haven't responded to our questionnaire, or you simply are waiting till the end. And I know, it's really funny, because I'm a culprit myself. A lot of people are hoarding these signatures and are waiting till the last day to hand them in,
because it feels great.
It feels so good to hand in a big batch of signatures.
In fact, I have some in my
right?
purse.
I know. So I run into a lot of volunteers saying, I sort of ignored the last tally because I want to hand in, this satisfying big batch of signatures. And that's perfectly fine, as long as you make sure that you hand them in, because it would be a shame losing that many signatures. So we will have to pivot, but between the 25th and the 27th, you can still collect them, but you will have to manually bring them in into our office so that we can still add them, because on the 28th, and I believe the Chief Electoral Commissioner actually even specified the time, we have to be at his office and deliver, and he will not accept anything the day after. So whatever we hand in on the 28th, that's it. So if there are any signatures lingering around, we simply won't be able to add them in.
I have another question here from Maya. If a canvasser misses signing a sheet, can they be contacted and emailed to sign and send it back to Elections Alberta? Joanne, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, so we are, one of the reasons that we are ending the collection on the 25th, to give us some time to review the packages that come in, and if possible, to contact canvassers to rectify situations like that where they haven't signed the bottom of the signature sheets. But we will have very limited capacity and time to do that at the very end. So please check them over. We're asking our drop-off location people to also check to make sure that they are signed. But if there are some that aren't, we will do our best to contact the canvasser and have those sent back to you so that you can sign them, and we'll have them resubmitted.
Well, thank you, Joanne. There is a question from Andrea, and it says, did she say 252,000? I did, 252,000. That's how many signatures we have in hand. There's another question that I'm hearing a lot, if I may ask you, in regards to the municipal election, which is October 20th. What is the game plan there in terms of getting our canvassers out and getting more signatures?
Good question. So this is sort of a gift that we have, this municipal election, because it will give us an opportunity to collect signatures on that day. And people who tend to vote in municipal elections, they're civically minded, they're engaged in their community, so they're likely to have an opinion and care about Forever Canadian petition. However, we have to be very mindful that there are rules around voting in municipal elections, and that means that we cannot be on the property of the polling station. So if the polling station is at a community hall or a school, don't be on the school property, be across the street, on a sidewalk. Second thing is we are not allowed to interfere with the process in any way. So we are not allowed to stop people. We're not allowed to prevent them from entering the polling station. And lastly, but very importantly, we cannot engage ourselves in the politics of that municipal election. So we are not to advise people whom to vote for or discourage people from voting for candidates who may actually even be opposing our cause. That's fine. We are not there to do any politics. This is a nonpartisan petition, and we are only there to collect signatures. So be visible. Be across the street, take advantage of the fact that there is an election, and I think I hope we will have volunteers across the whole province in every polling station, but be very mindful of the rules of Elections Alberta and your municipal elections office, because at the end of the day, this is maybe round one. If our premier doesn't do the right thing, and if we have to go into a referendum, we want to make sure that we are doing everything beyond reproach and that this movement is reputable.
I think you said some really telling things there. Be visible and be available, but I think we're also asking people to be gracious and just, it's kind of, I see it as a soft sell, right? You either support this petition or you don't. And that certainly is not the day to be convincing people at all.
That's right. And those who support us are enthusiastic.
Absolutely.
And they will be happy that you're there because they get to kill two birds with one stone. They get to vote and sign a petition. But we have to make sure that we don't interfere with that process.
Absolutely. And I have to remark that you and I were at the teachers rally at the Alberta Legislature, and there were so many people there that obviously in a very difficult time were giving us their signature, their support, and their time. And if they had signed, they were very polite and they said, we've already signed. So there's a way to do this. And I know all of you Forever Canadian volunteers are so kind and so gracious, and particularly on election day, I know you'll be extra behaved. So I want to take this question here from Cameron, and it is, I was asked several times why we don't have more TV coverage. I'd like maybe Thomas to talk about this. We have talked to a lot of media interviews, podcasts, radio stations. Talk about that. The media has been quite kind to us, actually.
I would say so. I think generally speaking, media has been very good to us. We had very extensive coverage in newspapers, particularly rural newspapers have been picking up our stories. And then now we're giving heads up to all the rural papers to where the Unity bus is going to be. So hopefully we will have some additional interaction with media. Mainstream networks, television and radio stations have also been very good to us. I had a number of interviews with them. Globe and Mail has been good. We submitted some letters and they printed them, and there will be more. We just submitted letters to the Calgary Herald and Edmonton Journal and both of the Sun newspapers. So overall, I really can't complain. I think they were generous and fair in their coverage. Mind you, just like us, they are learning because they don't know how to treat this. Is this a political thing, or is this a sort of a community grassroots movement? So media is learning about this process as well. But I really can't complain. However, this campaign has really been driven by you and by social media, and you promoting this cause in your own community has made all the difference. And that is why I am so thankful for the work that you're doing, because you have your own networks, your own Facebook accounts and Twitter accounts and others. And that's what really has pushed the signatures.
Well, I have to say the media has covered it. We could talk about the shifting landscape of media and how they have changed how they cover media. As a former broadcaster, I can tell you about, but that's a conversation for another time. Social media, though, I have to say, gosh, we have been almost viral for the entire time. And I have to tell you, that's a Herculean task.
It is.
And that speaks to all our volunteers and all the people there that are out there gathering signatures, buying all the paraphernalia, the Canada flags, the tables. What do you have to say to,
Well,
I've never seen anything like it.
We bought out dollar stores. I don't think there's anything Canadian to be found at dollar stores anymore. And the fact that you're retweeting and passing on and sharing.
And thank you so much.
Thank you for doing that, because that makes us go viral. And actually on X, hashtag Forever Canadian has been going viral for a number of times, and on TikTok and other places. But you will never penetrate the entire market. You know, I know that there are still people that have never heard about us, and that's just fine. That means they're not engaged, and it's very difficult to reach those people, and they probably are unlikely to sign this petition anyhow. But those who care, those who are engaged, those who watch news and are active on social media, I think all of you have done an exceptional job, and we will have to stay in touch and continue being in touch. So our trick now will be, following the 28th of October, we will be reaching out to you again and encouraging everybody to log on and leave your information behind so that we can continue communicating with each other. Because if there is a referendum, we have to be ready for that campaign. Whoever, who knows, whenever it may be.
Yeah, it seems like a long way away and yet very close as well. And when we talk about numbers, we talk about the number of signatures, we talk about analytics, we can talk about the number of media hits. But I really want to impress upon you, it really isn't about numbers, it's about stories. And what we've heard and what I've seen is this movement that has blossomed. And I am so verklempt when I think about the number of people in this province that are just uniting for such a positive thing to keep Alberta in Canada. We live in very tense geopolitical times, and it's heartwarming.
It is. And it was in the Wetaskiwin, I think, that somebody said, yes, it is a movement, but actually what we did is we built a community. We built a community of Albertans who found a voice, and a lot of them were sort of afraid to speak up, and especially in smaller rural communities, that they felt that they were sort of outshouted by angry people. And all of a sudden, when they started gathering around the bus, they were saying, well, we can't believe that there are that many of us,
right.
Who are not angry.
Sense of support.
That's right, who want to build. And I hope that these friendships right now carry on, because we have really identified Albertans to Albertans who just don't want to focus on anger, but want to build this province and want to stay in this country. And so it's something beautiful that we have created, for sure. But again, that is because of you, because you're reaching out to your networks, you're working very hard every day, and people appreciate it. And they want to be part of this. They don't want this to end. And we will have to make sure that somehow we keep this spirit, this energy alive.
Yeah, this network feels kind of like a warm hug. And you know what I really like, and you can't see my laptop here, but we've asked everybody to keep their cameras on, because I want to see your beautiful faces, and I'm seeing hearts, I'm seeing thumbs up, and it is really, really amazing. And Canada flags, you just saw that one. But let's head back to some questions, shall we? Sharon says, Thomas, what happens after the petitions have been submitted to Elections Alberta? That's the question.
Yeah. It's the big question, and variety of things can happen. So first of all, the Chief Electoral Commissioner officer will count them. And once he is satisfied that we have reached that magic 297,000 number
and change,
the petition gets certified, and it goes to the Alberta legislature, to the Speaker's office, actually. And this is where the Premier can do what I refer to is the right thing. And she can simply ask a question in the legislature and have all MLAs vote on our question and adopt that either as a motion or as an act of legislature, and adopt this as a formal government policy that Alberta will stay in the province of Alberta. If the Premier chooses not to do that, then she has option number 2, and we can have a referendum. And she can either call a standalone referendum just on this question, or she can lump it with other referendum questions, or she can attach it to the next provincial election. I wish we didn't have a referendum, because those campaigns are divisive and expensive and time consuming. We should be focusing on education, on healthcare, and many other matters that are important out there in the province. But if the Premier chooses to have a referendum, that means we're going to have to pick up our tools again and campaign for yes. It will be on the yes campaign. Yes, Alberta should remain in Canada. There's a glimmer of hope that Premier will do the right thing. I know politics kicks in. She has in her caucus declared separatists. She probably doesn't want to show those divisions in her caucus. So there are reasons why, for political reasons, she may not want to proceed with a vote in the legislature, but we have to be open and ready for both alternatives.
But I think that speaks to why we need a really big number.
That and why we did what we did. Because if we are going to have a referendum, as I always said, I want this referendum to be fought on our terms. I want the question asked to be our question, not some separatist question. I want this referendum to be framed by us who actually, I can say that here, can't I? Actually give a damn about Canada.
You can say whatever you want. It's your show.
And I want to make sure that this referendum is based on facts, on factual information, on legislation, on First Nation treaties and things that really matter, and not disinformation that is being emanated by separatists and even some government members. So if we are to go into a referendum, I also want to have this momentum of 300-some thousand signatories, of 6,000 people like you, volunteers, and we will then enter that referendum campaign with the momentum that we have built over the last 3 months.
I have a question for Joanne, if that's okay. Joanne, maybe you can share with our Forever Canadians just how complicated the collections piece of this. Yeah, Thomas mentioned that it's almost like a separate campaign. I feel like the campaign, the big one obviously is collecting signatures, and the second one is collecting those petitions and also the Unity Bus. But Joanne, how complicated is that and intricate is that collection strategy?
Okay, well, that's a good question. We've got, the drop-off locations. We had to pivot because of the mail strike, so there's changes happening all the time. We're also trying to have an accurate count, and that means that was the reason for the cover sheets, to have the canvassers say what their number is, and that those numbers are being rolled up into daily reports, and then we can roll up all of those to know what our current count is. So there's extra things that we've added in there so we can have an accurate count. We've also embedded some review processes at the other end, so that when you submit your signature sheets, we are validating that you're a registered canvasser. We're looking to see if you've forgotten to sign the bottom of a signature sheet and returning those if we can. So there's some validation steps that are happening, and some review and some sorting, which I think is going to increase our accuracy rate, will reduce the number of signatures that the Chief Electoral Officer rejects. So we've embedded some of those steps in there that are helping us, again, to ensure the accuracy and to have our own count. Because when we submit those boxes into Elections Alberta, we want to know how many signatures we're submitting, and we want to know roughly how confident we are in the validity of those signatures. So those are the steps that we're embedding after we've collected them, to ensure that we can they can all be counted. One other thing that's maybe also part of the complexity is just Alberta is a big province, and we have had people from all corners of the province who are collecting signatures. We want to be able to collect all of them. It is difficult to have drop-off locations in smaller communities, especially in more remote communities, but we're doing our best to ensure that we can collect them in some way. And I should say canvassers have been amazing and working out their own solutions as well to get those signature sheets into our drop-off locations. Now that we don't have affidavits, you actually don't have to be there yourself to drop off your signature sheets. So we've had canvassers get a group of people together. They're devising their own strategies, their own plans to send someone to a drop-off location with signature sheets from a group of canvassers. So, I mean, tremendous ingenuity on the part of canvassers, both in collecting signatures and getting them to us. So lots of pieces there that we're trying trying to incorporate and trying to make it as easy as possible for canvassers, and also wanting to make sure that we collect every signature that's out there.
Well, thank you, Joanne. I just wanted to tell you, Joanne, you have another volunteer, Jan Reimer, former Edmonton mayor. Hi, Jan. Thank you for messaging. She said, I am happy to help you volunteer, Joanne. So there you go. Add Jan to the list. So thank you. In our conversation, I was having such a good time, I forgot. I put together a few photos because so many people have been sharing photos along the way, and hopefully we'll be able to roll that tape. Is that such a thing anymore in this virtual world? But let's take a look at those photos. I love it. Can't you feel the enthusiasm?
And you saw Premier Stelmach over there. That was such a great experience with Premier Stelmach and Andrew. He was flipping potato pancakes for breakfast for the Garlic Festival. But later he joined the bus and he went on a parade with us. So we drove through Andrew. And at the end, he said, let me fill up this thing for you. And we actually drove to a gas station and he bought us a tank of gas. So what a guy.
Yeah, and the donations, I mean, over and above the volunteers volunteering their time, a number of donations. I mean, we need those donations, right? It's been expensive to travel the province, and it's really an expensive campaign.
It is. Well, the IT part is really expensive, and we wouldn't be able to do this if not for AI and the website and the way we're connecting with you and tabulating. So that has been a big expense. But this RV is not a cheap one either. You know, this thing is 33 years old, but it has been donated, which is great. But it burns a lot of fuel, so we need to keep it on the road for a couple more weeks. So we are collecting money now for gas. And, Premier Stelmach literally actually physically filled up the tank. But any donation will be appreciated for sure. And just so you know, we cannot issue tax receipts. You can only donate up to the maximum of $4,600. But, every dollar really adds up. It's going to help us out. And for transparency, every single donation and expenditure has to be reconciled with the Chief Electoral Commissioner. So you will actually see publicly on the website of the Elections Alberta where we raised money, how we raised money, and how we spent the money.
And I just want to clarify in some of the chats here, there's a conversation about what do we report in terms of signatures, and it's what you have in hand. So if you reported 5 signatures last time, don't report those signatures because they've already been counted for. So the new number. Also, I'm just looking at all the comments here, and I have to tell you, everybody is so excited and encouraging, and it really feels like a family. Where are you heading next tomorrow?
So tomorrow I'm heading to Mundare.
It's almost like a blur, though, for you, right?
That's right. And you don't know how big Alberta, by the way, Joanne, is until you drive a 33-year-old RV on a windy day in southern Alberta. But I'm heading to Mundare tomorrow, first thing in the morning, and then I'm going to Vegreville for sure, and I will be hitting towns around Vegreville. So I will be sort of in central eastern Alberta tomorrow, and then I'm heading further south, and I will be moving towards Medicine Hat and Lethbridge for a few days, and then I will be moving up again, but on the western side of our province, then moving to Calgary, Canmore, and Banff. Then I'm coming back and I get to sleep in my own bed at home for one night because I'm speaking at an engagement in Edmonton, and then again, you're putting me on the road. So I'm given a schedule where I have to be at what time. I feel like a bus driver, and that's what I do.
But the goal of it is to make the petition more available in smaller communities, but also to rally the troops and also to collect.
And to meet you. I really want to meet every single one of you.
He really wants to say thank you.
I really want to shake your hand and tell you how grateful I am for the work that you have done over the last 2.5 months. And so wherever the bus stops, usually our volunteers show up. And more important than meeting me is they're actually meeting each other, because they have been working in the same area but not knowing about each other. So they get to meet by the bus and get to know each other.
We have a question from Carla right now for Joanne. Elections Alberta has not gotten back to me yet about the following. 2 populations may need special forms. Please help. Incarcerated populations, First Nations and Métis. Does each person need the form, or does the population just need one?
I don't have the answer to that question, and I don't know if Joanne does, but we can definitely check first thing tomorrow with the Chief Elections Commissioner and find out what his decision on that is. Inmates in Alberta get to participate in this process, so let's find out, and maybe we will put up the answer on our Facebook page. Is that okay, Serena?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Joanne, you don't have anything further to add to that, do you?
No, I think we have to follow up, and we'll put the information out on the Facebook page.
So there is a question on here. What if we don't hit 300,000, then what?
I don't want to think about it, but we have to. If we don't hit 300,000, that means everything we have done was in sense for nothing, other than the fact that we have identified and we have created a community, which I think is very important in itself. But then there is a possibility for the separatist question to go forward if they clear the obstacle in court, because they are now stuck in court trying to determine whether their question is constitutional or whether it is not. And the second obstacle then, because you cannot have 2 questions being asked on the same issue, would no longer be a problem for them, because we would have failed. So then they would be able to ask. But
let's be honest, we're not going to fail. We can't.
We can't. Let's just not even think about it. I told you about the 2 campaigns. One is collecting signatures. One is collecting petitions. There also is a third campaign. We've been so lucky with the legal team that we have, and later at the end we will list all the contributors to this campaign, because we have a little army of very high-profile lawyers who are doing all this work for us pro bono. And they have studied this act inside and out. That's how we have won in court the exemption from affidavits, and they are working on all the scenarios. But if we don't get that prerequisite 297 some thousand signatures, then we will have failed. But I know with you out there, we won't fail.
Yeah, no, I'm not even going to we did entertain that question, but in a positive way, because sure. I see such enthusiasm and determination.
Let's just get it done.
And let's bring it home, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And that exemption from affidavits was a huge win, because that was really complicated, right? To get some of the
and
unnecessary.
And the judge, for those of you who are, legal wonkies and care, that decision now is publicly available. The judge ruled very wisely. First of all, he said this is a democratic process and we should not be making it harder. We should be making it easier on Albertans to participate in. No one should have to pay to participate in a democratic process. And as you know, some commissioners actually charge for affidavits. And lastly, but equally importantly, is how can any one of you sign an affidavit that you believe that the persons who signed the petition are electors? We don't know that. We don't have to ID them. We don't know what their citizenship is. So it's incumbent upon them to be truthful, not you as a signature collector. So thank goodness it's gone. And not only is it helping us out, but it's now forging a pathway for next petitions. And there already is another petition on their way. So they get to benefit from all the heavy lifting that our legal team and Joanne's collection team and our signature team are doing, because I know that they already contacted me, but they are tapping into the kind of work that we have done to sort of not reinvent a wheel.
Right, and thanks to, again, all the volunteers for making this possible. So a question from Yvonne. I am going out of province. I want to drop my sheets off to another canvasser tomorrow. Joanne, do I date my cover sheet tomorrow? Also, I can't remember what signature number I submitted earlier. Do you want my total signature? Maybe you can just answer some of those questions. Someone wants to go on holiday. When should they date the cover sheet? Can they give it to someone else? And which number should they put in terms of their signatures on that email survey?
Okay, lots of
a lot of questions there. Sorry.
Yes. So first of all, absolutely, you can ask someone to submit on your behalf. Make sure you've signed the bottom of those signature sheets. The date on the cover sheet should be the date that you're providing them to someone. That date is actually not as critical as signing the bottom of the signature sheets. We've had questions about what date do you put on the bottom of the signature sheets if you're signing them. It might be a day, a week, or a month after the last signature was collected. Just date it the day that you're signing it. Really, as long as your signature is there and the date is within the period of the campaign, then that should be fine. And then in terms of the number that you submit in response to the email, I would submit those because your friend is probably not going to be submitting them until after tomorrow on your behalf. So consider those in your hands, and please report those in response to that email number. And so what really the purpose or what we really want to do is take the number that gets reported by the end of the day tomorrow and add it to the 252,000 that we have to give us an expected total. So really, don't count anything that you've already handed in to the central campaign, but report everything that you have in hand that you're planning to submit.
I want to give you this question from John because I love it. I applied to Canvas earlier, but I must have messed up because I didn't hear for a while. And now I recently reapplied and got in. Is there a meaningful contribution I can make at this point in time as a late addition to the team?
Oh, by all means. We still have 2 weeks, 14 days. You know, in provincial campaigns, election campaigns, you only have 28 days to campaign. 14 days seems like forever. So once you receive the credentials, and I'm sorry that you didn't get them any sooner, there were glitches with Elections Alberta and how we transmit to them. But you have 14 days to collect signatures. So by all means, reach out to your network, and whatever number of signatures you get, that will be more than what we would have had you not done it. So I would really appreciate you, John, if you went out there and collected for the next, well, maybe not 14 days, but 13 or 12 days and get as many signatures as you possibly can.
And all of your new friends on the chat have echoed what Thomas has just said. Every signature counts. And I personally will say, welcome to the team. And definitely, there is a community. Go on to Facebook. There are different communities where volunteers are sharing stories, sharing tips, and there's a real community, and so welcome. We also have another question here about First Nations. You and I were at the Assembly of Treaty
6,
Chiefs.
7, 8. That's right.
6, 7, and 8, and maybe tell everybody how that went.
I was honored. So the Confederacy of Treaty 6, 7, and 8, all the Grand Chiefs and chiefs and elders, many elders were there in Edmonton, and they actually specifically invited me to speak to them and meet with them, and they have a dilemma. Our First Nations have a dilemma that I fully appreciate because truly. Any referendum on separation cannot in any way supersede the treaties that have been signed, not with Alberta, not with Ottawa, but actually with the Crown. So the fundamental question that First Nations ask is, why should I participate in a process that has no legitimacy in the first place? And I agree with that theory. But the fact of the matter is that this process is going on, and even though treaties cannot be undermined by any referendum, the process itself would be very painful to our economy, to our First Nations, would be divisive. So I'm asking them, sign our petition in protest. And acknowledge the fact that you don't believe in this process, but sign it anyway, because this will get us to the end where all of us want to get to. So what the Confederacy of First Nations did is they voted unanimously to support Forever Canadian, and have messaged out to all the reserves and First Nations on and off reserve to sign our petition and to support us. I'm not sure how this will translate into numbers, but we definitely need that support. And if we end up having a referendum, we definitely will need our First Nations to be active participants.
Well, I know that I've been in contact with a number of officials from different First Nations. In fact, our Calgary team has worked with an Indigenous event in Calgary, and it was quite successful. And there were different First Nation communities that were reaching out to Musqueam, Saddle Lake, Blackfoot, just to name a few. And so those conversations continue to be had. And they do, as you say, support us and are calling it like a protest vote. They don't want to be involved, but they support us. And it was very collegial and very supportive.
So. And
what an honor for them to invite you.
What an honor to meet with all of them at the same time. And they also have another battle because they're battling right now separatists in court on the constitutionality of the separate question. So unfortunately, First Nations have been embroiled in this, but they really have no choice. They have to participate somehow in order for us to prevail.
Now, here's a question. A possible paranoid question. I received a text from an unknown number stating the following. Forever Canadian final sheet collection starts October 22, et cetera, et cetera. Is this legitimate? Just nervous about clicking a link from an unknown number. This is a very important question. Maybe, Joanne, you can field this one.
Yes, and I can really appreciate the hesitation and the skepticism, because I probably would be the same if I got a text or an email asking me to click on a link. But that was from us. That was sent on Monday morning and sent to all canvassers. We did it by text, and which was the first time we've done it by text, because we knew we weren't reaching everyone by email. We thought it was really important, so we wanted to make sure that as many canvassers got it as possible. Some of you may have received it both by text and by email. That's fine, but as long as you received it in one way or the other, that was really our goal. And if something happens you didn't receive it by text or by email, you can still go onto our website. The link is there, so please go and report your signatures.
I love these comments, Thomas. I have had some wonderful stories and connections. This campaign is uniting Alberta in a way I've never seen. And someone said, Melanie said, I haven't heard verklempt in years. So thank you, Melanie. I love that word. There's a question here about fundraising. Maybe you can update people about how that's going.
It's going well. All of our bills are paid. I think in total we have raised just slightly over $200,000, and we have spent pretty close to that as well. But there are still additional expenses that are coming forward with the cost of collection, and also with this bus, right?
Even printing petition sheets. I mean, I think you and I went to Staples, or I went on, you sent me there. Yeah. I spent $1,200 on just printing petition sheets.
And a lot of you are picking up that cost yourselves, and I can't thank you enough for it, because you're printing your own petition sheets and signs and things like that. And that's in lieu of contribution, financial contribution. So I am very cognizant of it. But donations are still very important. We are allowed to raise some $560,000. I don't think we will be needing that much money. But right now we have managed to pay all of our bills. There are still some bills coming forward. But Albertans have been very generous, and we're getting a lot of small donations using Square on our website. And I think it'll get us over the hump.
I love all these comments. Like, I could read these all day. I wish we were going for a couple of hours here. Just people talking about community, how they've met new friends. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I see it when I'm out. Every time I see a Forever Canadian, I stop and I say hello, and it's an instant response of friendliness.
And that's a win in itself. You mentioned, what if we don't get the number? We already won. Yeah. Because we have identified Albertans whom Premier Klein would have called severely normal Albertans.
Now you're taking us back.
So who are sort of finding each other and saying, look, I'm not the only one who disagrees with all this anger. The Marthas and Henrys, people who simply want to focus on real issues in their community. There we go. Either in their own community or provincial or national issues. People who don't want to be embroiled in this negativism that we have been seeing in politics all the time, and people who want it, who will probably utilize this movement for something positive. people don't want to vote against things. This is
wanna
something that
vote
is
for
for something. And I think we have shown, not only Albertans, but the rest of our country and perhaps maybe to some degree the world, that politics can be done differently. And even though this is not partisan, but nonetheless, it is politics, and that you can actually have positive messaging and you can have people, participate in elections. I tell you, and I mentioned that before last time we met, that I have never seen a campaign that had 6,000 volunteers across the province. No leadership contender of any political party has ever garnered that. But I have also never seen a campaign where people of all political stripes are working for something together. Usually we manage to divide ourselves into ideologies or
cohorts and factions.
This is sort of transcending all of that, and let's keep this alive.
And Thomas and I were on a podcast recently, and we made a call to people to return to polite discourse and civility.
Sure.
And just kindness.
Yeah.
And I am seeing that all over in this particular campaign, and I can't truly thank you all enough for that. But there are some key things that we'd like to put on as a graphic, as a reminder to you as we bring this campaign into the home stretch. There will be a final collection period planned for October 22 to 25. There will be some new drop-off centers in Bonnyville, Camrose, Pincher Creek, Athabasca, and Rocky Mountain. All of those will be in addition to the major centers. Also, a very gentle reminder to be accurate and to be legible. Make sure people fill out the boxes properly and legibly. And please sign your sheets. I actually handed in a number of sheets to Joanne earlier in the lobby. And I'm busted. She goes, Serena, you didn't sign them. So please sign. Don't be a Serena. We want your signatures to count. And what we really need from you is to report the number of signatures you have. Joanne had said earlier, it determines how our collection team goes on to the next phase. And also a reminder that we have to return those registered badges to Elections Alberta. And of course, we want you to pay attention to your email. And yes, that SMS was legit. It is not sketchy. It is legit. And if you want to connect with us, please share your stories over social media. And you can email and DM Thomas and I like you have been. We love it. Or email us at info@forevercanadian.ca. Now, before we go tonight, I do want to thank you on behalf of Thomas and I and the Forever Canadian team for doing all of this, for donating your time, and most importantly, for me as a storyteller, for you sharing all your stories and your passion. Your dedication is inspiring, and I really do feel like my network has expanded. It kind of feels like really special, and it feels kind of like a big family.
It does.
Yeah, it really does. And I'm just going to head over to Joanne one final time, and then we'll have you wrap up in a moment. So, Joanne.
Okay, thanks. So as Serena mentioned, we do have a broader collection strategy than last time. There was 5 additional sites that were listed on the screen. That's not an exclusive list. There are other locations as well. And there will be the Unity bus. So if you see Thomas driving around the province, he will accept your signature sheets as well. So make sure that you pay attention to your emails and on the information that we're going to post to the website later this week. That'll give you a list of all of the locations that's really meant to cover the province to the extent we can, and give you many options for submitting those signature sheets. And then please make sure that your packages are complete. Sign those signature sheets. Include the cover sheet. Make sure you return your badge. So it really helps us with the count. It helps us meet the requirements that Elections Alberta has. And those will be really important points as you're submitting those signature sheets, either yourself in person or if you're sending them in with someone else to be submitted. Thank you.
Lots to think about, and obviously we want people to collect signatures. And Thomas, maybe you can wrap it up with some final thoughts. And I don't know, I think this has been a unique experience for you too. You've been on many campaigns. How are you feeling? Has it inspired you, or how are you feeling these days about everything?
I have faith in humanity again, you know, and I think all of us were a little, those of us who follow politics were a little depressed about what we're seeing worldwide and the trends and things sort of seem to have been spiraling down. And as they seem to be spiraling down, we are actually spiraling up. And so I feel uplifted. I really do. And I never thought that we will be able, as I said earlier, to get people who normally would disagree on a lot of issues politically, working together and finding a means of communicating. And I know that there will be other things that we will be able to coalesce around, because we have finally realized that those other people are not evil. They're just like us, and we can actually work with them. So that's something that I'm hoping that we build on. But going back to the bus, when you see the bus honk, and I will honk right back at you, and stop by and say hello, drop off your petitions. That's probably the easiest way for you to drop off. And then if you still collect, which I hope you do, you can simply deliver a smaller number. But the more we have in hand, then we know we already have them, and I will be delivering them back to Edmonton. Take advantage of the municipal election for sure, and larger events. I know our teachers, unfortunately, will have to have more rallies. So if there are teachers' rallies, do attend them. Teachers have been very friendly and very good to us. So I'm thankful to all the teachers out there for that. And on the 28th, we haven't decided yet how this will happen, but we will be delivering those boxes, and there will be many boxes of petition sheets to the Chief Electoral Commissioner's office on Kingsway Avenue in Edmonton. And we will let you know exactly when and how it happens. And I hope all of you show up. If you can make it to Edmonton, if you don't live too far, and if the weather on October 28th is decent, show up, because we really want to show what a movement we have created, what a community we have gathered. And I think all of you should have the pleasure, the privilege of grabbing one box and actually yourself delivering it to the commissioner, because you all worked for this so hard, and you should be part of that. But we will post what will happen, how it will happen in the next few days. But we need to organize something for that day, and we need to celebrate ourselves. And I'm hoping to see as many of you as possible there.
All right, and that's it for us tonight. But thank you again for joining us and donating more of your time by spending the evening with us. I know that this has filled my cup, so thank you so much. And thank you, Thomas, and thank you, Joanne, and all of you volunteers for making this absolutely possible. Have a great evening.
Thank you.